Hey guys, welcome to Adventure Go To. So I'm a little bit off topic here. I'm probably going to go on a bit of a rant. Behind me is a 2015 F6B Honda Goldwing Gl1800. We just completed a trip down to Bonnyville Salt Flats and over to the Oregon coast and back up. Beautiful, beautiful ride, 5,000 kilometers, over 5,000 kilometers. Really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you can get in there or do that trip, I highly recommend it. But my rant for today is the bike that you see behind me. I've had a bit of an issue with it. Now, let's backpedal a little bit here. Adventure Go To is my channel where I take you guys on adventures and whatnot of trips that I've done to the Caribbean and bike trips and whatnot, camping, fishing and whatnot, slowly building the channel. This is a little bit off topic, but I have to say that the adventure is pulling this bike apart, to figure out what's wrong with it. Now, a couple years back, the bike was having some issues with it, as I call bucking. Now, bucking to me is when you're rolling on the throttle and the bike starts jerking on you. I was pretty busy at that time, so I decided to take it to, I'm based in central BC, Kamloops, and there is a Honda dealership in Kelowna who I took the bike to, who has done tons and tons of work, like probably $18,000 to $20,000 worth of work on this bike. The bike was in an accident, so they didn't write it off, and the Honda dealership in Kelowna was the ones that fixed the bike and whatnot. They've done the rear tire, they've done the front tire. Basically, I could say that they treated me really well there, except for this last time. So a couple years back, that bucking effect, I decided that I would just take it into them and let them diagnose the problem. The first X that they brought was that they needed more money. So they allotted me for $300. They said, you know, how far do you want us to go on this bike? And I told them flat out, I said, I've had this issue before. Can you please just check the coils? Okay, this bike here is 6-cylinder and has 3 coils. Each coil does two cylinders. I said, I've had this issue before with some of the older bikes that I've had and power sports equipment that I've had, and 95% of the time, it is an electrical issue, a spark issue. And it can be a fuel issue, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, most of the time it's a spark issue with how the bike was reacting, because I've had the same problem before. So they said, oh no, okay, well, you allotted us for, I allotted them for like $800 or something like that. And they came back to me and they said, oh no, it was just your spark plugs. Now here's X number 2. When this bike had the accident, okay, this whole front part here, okay, got smashed. Okay, there's oil all over the parking lot, everything like that, okay? And I won't go into details of what happened. So don't you think after $18,000 worth of work that you would have put new spark plugs in? And the problem being is they kind of blame me for it. And I'm just not taking very kindly to that. Don't blame me for something that you guys didn't do. So they took and put new spark plugs in it, said that they had taken it for a run, and said it was running perfectly fine. $550, $560, somewhere around there, for them just to change spark plugs out. So last year, we went on a little bit of a trip through Alberta, about 3,500 kilometer trip, and the bike just wasn't running properly. I was still getting a little bit of bucking and whatnot. And I decided that, you know what, when it comes due to do an oil change and all that, maybe I'll diagnose the problem myself. But right now, it's okay. Now, if you're like me and you look after your stuff, you are going to want your equipment running in tip-top shape, as I do. I'm very anal about it. I am very anal about it. So if it's not running properly, it bugs the hell out of me. It really does. So we went on this trip down to Bonnyville Salt Flats, when we got down in the hot weather around Nevada, that sort of thing, the bike started running like a piece of garbage. Doing the exact same thing. We got trapped in a day of rain, and it really ran really rough. I was starting to get a little worried that we weren't going to make it back, to tell you the truth, because I thought, okay, this problem that I had a year ago or 2 years ago has just come back exponentially. We got home. I decided, okay, I got to change the oil on it. I got to do the air filter on it. Now, if you've worked on a Goldwing, Gl1800 or F6B the way I do, in order to get to the air filter, you have to basically tear everything apart here, okay? So it all comes out. You don't have to take the gas tank out like I did, but in order to get to the air cleaner sits right in here between the frame. Okay, it's a little bit crazy. Changing the oil is easy. That's an easy part, but getting to the air filter, now I run a K&N air filter on mine, so about every 10,000, 8 to 10,000, I take it out, I clean it, and I re-oil it. That was part of my job. While I was doing that, I thought, well, I'll see how well I can get to the coils, because the dealership in Kelowna decided that they weren't going to test the coils, and it was just a spark plug issue. I want to let a shout out to anybody on YouTube who has put on how to test the coils and whatnot, because I thought it was a big job, and really it isn't. It was very, very easy. All you need is a multimeter. Check the primary, check the secondary. All three of my coils were good. The next step was to check all my wires. So I pulled all 6 wires out, and I 360 degreed them. I looked at them all right from start to finish. And what did I find? I found one wire that was cut. Had a little bit of a slice in it. There's my issue right there. 100% my issue. Now, if the dealership in Kelowna would have just taken, when they took the spark plug wires off, if they would have taken the bracket off that holds the spark plug wires to the block, and maybe the cover off, they could have inspected the wires almost all the way up to the coils, but they didn't. So I took the time, had to rip it apart. Now that takes even more than the air filter. I had to take the gas tank out, had basically removed the battery, all that stuff that's sitting in this area here to get it out, because in order to get the air, you have to take the air box out to get to those coils, which means that you have to take the gas tank out, and then you can reach underneath there and take the return lines and whatnot off your air box. Okay, once you get the air box off, you can get from the front and the rear, or from the top, however you want to call it. I don't mean this video to be negative or anything like that towards, the dealership in Kelowna. They did treat me quite well. You've lost my business now because of what I asked you to do, you did not do. It's as simple as that. So that's my rant for today. But on a positive note, and this is where I'll leave you, I found out what the problem was. And I'm so happy about that. It's brought my positivity back and whatnot, that I'm hoping that this video will give you a little bit of information and a little bit of incentive to do the work yourself. Now, all you need is a little bit of a mechanical background. You don't need much. You got a toolkit, whatnot, and everything comes apart on the bike without any issues. If you have trouble remembering how it goes back together, well, then you just list it all. See, I actually have on my little list here, I actually drew a diagram on how this all goes together. So there's my 3 coils looking at the front of the bike and where all my wire positions going. The one thing about these coil systems is they run either the front, middle, or the rear plugs. So one coil runs the fronts, one coil runs the middles, and one coil runs the rears. Very, very easy, probably to put back, but if you do have issues, there's lots of videos on YouTube that you can find. So I'm hoping that I can give you, with the positivity, of this video that if you do own a Goldwing Gl1800, an F6B, that you can fix them yourself. Now, I don't want to take any business away from those big businesses or anything like that, but if they're not treating you properly, it might be time for you to take matters into your own hands. So on Adventure Go 2, we show you videos of whatever trips. I've got so many videos right now that I'm trying to edit and whatnot for you guys to watch and whatnot, and I hope you enjoy them. A lot of the videos that I have on there right now are videos that I had from older trips and whatnot that I took. This recent one, which I just got home like 3 days ago, I'm just editing the footage and whatnot. GoPro. I mounted a GoPro to my helmet, so pretty much I've got about 100 gigs worth of data that I need to process and whatnot. So I hope that this video isn't a little bit is obviously a little bit offbeat, but you want to know what? It's an adventure to take this bike apart. It really is an adventure to take this bike apart. And when I say on the end of my videos, get out there and explore, well, I'm telling you right now, get out and explore this bike, because really, it's overwhelming when you first start the job, but once you get her done, you're going to be happy. And you're going to be happy just like this guy right here. Get out there and explore, guys. Talk to you later.